I was born to a white American father and a Taiwanese mother. And my father's descent is actually from Russia and Italy. And my mother, actually in her 20s, she moved to America and met my father shortly after. I was the happy accident that got them married. Yeah, that was me. Growing up, I sort of lived in two worlds, essentially, because I grew up in New York, upstate New York, in a very mainly white American town. Basically, all that I was exposed to on that side was white America. And in the household, though, my mother really kept a lot of the Asian traditions, specifically Taiwanese traditions. So, for example, for Lunar New Year, we would celebrate and have the little activities and such to keep the culture alive, as well as the actual decorations that she chose. It was very Asian and inspired, and yeah, I guess you could say I sort of lived in those two worlds growing up. Growing up in that type of household, I sort of had, I guess I would like to say I was a bit well-rounded, just because I was exposed to two different lifestyles, and I really enjoyed both, I guess. My mother was more of that strict Asian mentality. For example, she forced me into cello, so I was playing cello as a child, and at that point in time, I didn't enjoy it, as the typical stern Asian parent, making sure you do these things that are obviously meant to help you later on in life. And then my father, he was the guy who was just more chill and laid back and relaxed. And anytime my mom came on too strong, my father would be the guy to cool her off and be telling her to, yo, chill out, just let the boy do what he wants. So it was really cool because it was also like fire and water. So there was a lot of balance, at least for me. I got to see these two people and these two sort of cultures and these two personalities, which helped sculpt me the way I am today. And I will forever be thankful for both of them, because of my mom, I have discipline and I have structure in my life, and I understand how to get things done. And because of both of them, I'm a hard worker. They both were very hard workers. And then because of my father, I know how to chill and relax, and just go with the flow. So I have the world to thank both of them. And definitely it's because of being mixed, having those two types of cultures influencing me that shaped me for who I am. I will say though, being a mixed person doesn't come without its problems or challenges, because I think the main thing that a lot of mixed people go through is the feeling of not belonging. Because even though for the most part I had a lot of this white American lifestyle and culture in me, I never felt like I really belonged. I never really had full-on amazing connections with people. It was almost like as a kid, do you know that little wooden thing where it has the shapes, and I was like the circle shape and you're just trying to force it into the square shape and it's just not working? That's how I like to describe it, and that's how I felt growing up. So it really brought my confidence down and self-esteem. I had lower self-esteem, and I think that might have been a big reason why I am more of an introvert, which is not a bad thing, but as an introvert, I always look at extroverted people and I just wish I had a little bit more of that. Regardless, yeah, it's tough living as a mixed person and growing up, especially in the 80s and 90s, in a white American culture, just because people see you as differently and they don't fully accept you or let you in, and there's lots of walls and barriers. And as a kid, I never really understood. It wasn't until I was much older as an adult that I sort of saw those things. On top of that, I faced quite a bit of racism. Lots of kids would say a lot of mean names to me. I guess you can guess what they would say. And that really brought me down. That made it tough growing up. But in hindsight, I think it makes me tougher. But at the time, it didn't feel that way. I definitely was beat down emotionally and psychologically for quite a while. again, racism and feeling of not fitting in, it makes you feel a little alone and not very in touch with the society that you actually live in. I will say though, over time, my outlook on being a mixed person changed completely. Especially after college, I actually moved to Taiwan because I had this deep longing in me to want to learn more about that side of my culture. I grew up in the white American side, and I very well knew what that was about. And again, I didn't feel connected to it. So deep inside of me, I was like, okay, I want to learn Mandarin, which I eventually did. I didn't know as a kid. And also I wanted to experience my Asian side of the culture within me. And so that's what I did. And when I moved to Taiwan, I lived there for 11 years. That just goes to show you how much I loved it there. I really felt a deeper connection when I actually moved there. The people and the way they were, I guess the way my mom raised me, I had a very nice connection with the Taiwanese people. That's not to say that I'm just choosing that. It's just I felt like I fit in a bit more there, and I was seen a bit more rather than in America where there's just a huge disconnect. So over time, as a mixed person, especially growing up, being a bit more mature and actually living in that culture, so now I have two perspectives. I have two very complete, well-rounded perspectives about the world, about how people see me and how I see the world itself. It changed me a lot, and it made me feel extremely proud to be who I was. Because as a kid, growing up, feeling that alienation, there were points in time that I sort of wished that I was full white or full American, and I didn't feel really proud to be this mixed race person that I was. Of course, I chalked that up to being young and dumb and not knowing, and I didn't really have anyone to guide me because growing up in that town, there were a few Asians, but they were full Asian, and then there were just mainly white people. So there were I don't even think there were any other mixed people, and so there was no one else to really have that relationship with. But moving to Asia, that completely changed. Having moved to Asia and being older, I didn't have that feeling of alienation anymore, and so I was very proud to be who I was, and I felt like I could define who I was on my own terms. I didn't need other people to tell me who I was or what I was. So I would say that there are quite a few positive things that come out with being a mixed race person. I'm just going to talk about the surface really quickly. When I lived in Asia, I started modeling for a bit. Actually for 9 years, for more than a bit. But I modeled, and I think living in Asia gave me that opportunity because they sort of like that mixed person thing. Mixed people had their own market. And so I was able to travel the world, or at least travel Asia, just by doing the modeling. So at the very surface level, it allowed me to do that, which was awesome. I would never be able to really do that in America. And then on top of that, in the modeling world, I met a whole bunch of mixed people. And it felt amazing because for the first time in my life, I really connected with people. I connected with people that grew up very similar the way that I did, that felt the same things that I did because they grew up in a white society or a specific society and as a mixed person, and they also felt that disconnect. They also felt like that they didn't belong anywhere. I always had this running joke like, what if all of us mixed people run off and start an island and create our own little country of mixed race people? I always thought that'd be fun. It'd be cool. But anyway, so being mixed race and actually meeting other mixed race people, you really actually felt a strong community. It's like, oh crap, yeah, this is my person. This is that energy. Yeah, that felt great. And it was really, really nice to be able to do that. On top of the surface stuff, inside, it gave me a whole new perspective. Because growing up with this, knowing these two cultures, my mom teaching me one way, my father teaching me another, and also experiencing them, I realized it's almost like a superpower. It was really cool to be able to see the world in a different way. If I grew up strictly in one culture in one way, then that's all I would know, or that's the only way I would see the world. Whereas growing up with two different ways, it gives me a more well-rounded way of thinking. So I feel like I'm quite a bit more open-minded than the purebreds or someone who just grows up in one way. And that gives me a lot of confidence and the self-esteem that I've always been wanting. It gives me grounding, something that I need, and I think everyone needs that. So I think being a mixed person, it really helped with giving me that positive side. Growing up mixed, I feel that there's a lot of social construct and these ideologies of how you should be or who you are. There's a lot of labels, and I'm not a fan of labels. After living in both worlds, Taiwan and America, and having the perspective that I do, I realize we're all human. This is how I feel. And it doesn't matter what color you are, what you're into, what sex, etc. It doesn't matter. We're all the same. We're all just human. And honestly, whether you're mixed race or you're just purebred, we have to connect to each other on a specific way. And I want to express to any of the young multicultural kids out there, or anyone who feels like they've been racist upon, or there have been a lot of negative energy towards them, just know that all those people that say mean things and stuff, don't let them get to you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they think. What matters most is you know who you are, and use the strengths of however many cultures you are. Use them to your advantage. Embrace it and enjoy it. Because honestly, life is short. It's not really worth wasting energy and time thinking about what other people think of you or the mean things they say to you. Just know that there's a community out there for you if you're feeling those things. If you feel what I felt, just know you're not alone. If you find any value in this type of content, or if you're a mixed person that has been through anything that I have been through, can you please leave a comment below and share your story, because other people would like to know and like to hear about it. This is how we connect as a community, and it's because of you guys that I make these videos. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and hopefully we'll all join the community of mixed people together.
If there's anyone that likes shoes and would like to support me, I have my own Etsy store. I designed all the shoes myself, and they're pretty gnarly if you ask me. I'll link it in the description down below. Thank you.